Hello, and thank you for joining me for Mindful Monday. I'm Daphne, and each Monday I offer a free guided meditation and talk. So, if you're catching this as a replay and you'd like to join our Mindful Monday meditation community live on Zoom, just click the link below or in the description to get signed up for free. We'd love to have you. So earlier today, I got an email, and in it said, on November 5th, it will feel like the whole world is waiting for the results of a biopsy. And I thought, okay, um, that kind of sums up the way the collective energy has been feeling pretty accurately based on what I've been hearing from others and a little bit of what I've been feeling myself. And so today I wanted to talk about stress and grounding. And before I talk about that, I want to start off with a little practice, and then we're going to also be ending with a practice together today. So please just begin by sitting up tall. If it is comfortable for you, I invite you to close your eyes. And just begin to take a couple of nice deep breaths. Just feeling that nourishing goodness of the breath as it moves into the lungs. And as you exhale, just allow yourself to release anything that's not serving you. So as you're exhaling, you might release tension, worries, unhelpful thoughts, things that are beyond your control, just letting it all go as you exhale. Just begin to relax into the present moment as best as you can, not by efforting, but by releasing and letting go. You can consciously relax the skin of the face, the muscles around the jaw, softening around the eyes, letting the arms hang heavy and the shoulders release down. Allow yourself to enjoy the breath moving in and out of the body. And begin to breathe in for 3, and then breathe out for 6. And repeat that for a few rounds at your own pace, breathing in for 3 counts and out for 6. And now completely let go of any kind of doing or effort. Allow the breath to flow naturally and simply see what remains. And before we finish this short practice, I'd like to offer a short prayer for peace that my dear friend and the co host with me of the HSP Wellness Warriors podcast, Tanya Roth, shared during a guided meditation that she shared earlier today. And that is peace within me, peace around me, peace guiding us forward. Peace within me, peace around me, peace guiding us forward. Peace within us, peace around us, peace guiding us forward. And may we take that peace in. May it extend out to our families, our communities, our states, our country, and the world. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. So, I wanted to just talk a little bit about stress and about grounding practices. Your brain, my brain, our brains are constantly monitoring to see whether or not we are in a sympathetic or parasympathetic state. Or, in other words, your brain is checking to see if you are activated and ready to fight, flee, or freeze, or it's noticing that you are relaxed. And even though that's happening within the brain, we aren't always consciously aware of ourselves. We're not always consciously aware of whether we are becoming agitated or triggered. And oftentimes, we don't immediately notice when our own thoughts are causing us to become even more agitated. And the fact is that whatever we choose to place our attention on, and then the ensuing thoughts that we have as a result of where we put our attention, that plays a huge role in our moment to moment experience of life. And we can't control our circumstances. Oftentimes, we can't control what's happening around us, but we do have some control with practice of our thoughts and of the internal experiences that we have. And it can also be really challenging to control our thoughts because, the mind thinks, and a lot of our thoughts are just popping up um, automatically. And then we're just deciding whether or not we add fuel to those thoughts or whether we choose to place our attention somewhere else. It's really helpful to remember that the body influences the mind and the mind influences the body. So that, if we find that we're having really intrusive thoughts, worry, anxiety, a lot of stress, and we're having a hard time shifting away from that, we can instead turn our attention to being more aware of what's happening within our own body. So you can learn to become more aware of when you are physically tense. And then when you notice that, you can consciously start to choose actions that can help to release some of that tension. And so being mindful of whatever state you're in is a great first step to starting to retrain the nervous system to be calm or to return to a state of calm when we notice that we're activated. And you probably already know that when you're stressed out, when you're anxious, that it doesn't work to just tell ourselves calm down. And it certainly doesn't work if somebody else tells us just calm down, just relax. You just need to relax. Like if you've ever been told that, you know that does not work, right? And that's because when we're activated, the fight, flight, freeze response is deeper than just the thought level. It's not as simple as just saying, just relax, because that response is literally happening throughout your whole body. And so in those times, we we can use our body to help communicate to our brain that we are safe, and we can do this through practices that are known as grounding. Our emotional reactions show up in the body. And again, we can't just think ourselves calm, or it tends to take a while. And it helps if we can also show ourselves that it's safe to relax. Because just because we can't think ourselves calm doesn't mean that we can't change our experience, because we do actually have quite a lot of power over our experiences, and we can access um, deeper parts of our brain through the body and through using things like our five senses. We can then develop the capacity to relax through grounding skills that are really essential if we want to heal and treat stress and trauma and anxiety. And an interesting thing, I think, is if you think about this for a moment, many trauma educators say that you cannot have PTSD or anxiety disorders in a relaxed body. So think about that for a moment. They say that you can't have anxiety disorders in a relaxed body because anxiety and PTSD are outward symptoms of having your nervous system stuck in high alert. I know in my own experience that I was actually first introduced to yoga and meditation shortly after I had gotten out of a residential treatment facility for panic disorder as a teenager. And through yoga, I really learned how to sense what I was actually feeling in my body. And I felt like that was such a revelation, because I felt like that was the first time in my life that I had learned how to do that. And also through those practices, I learned how to deeply relax my body. And it helped me tremendously at the time. Because again, when we're under a lot of stress or when we're in a state of anxiety, your brain, your amygdala, is sending the message that you are in danger, and it's triggering that fight, flight, or freeze response throughout your whole body. And as a result, your stress and anxiety then are felt throughout your body, and even like in your digestive system and your stomach. I mean, a lot of us who experience anxiety really know that firsthand, that when we're having a lot of anxiety, that it really affects our digestive system also. And all of this can keep us locked into hypervigilance, where we jump at the slightest threat, or we're just really on edge because we're stuck in that sympathetic response. When we're stressed, our muscles get tense without us even consciously thinking about it. And, we might hold tension in different areas. Some of us might really hold on to it in like our upper body. Others We'll hold on to it in our belly or our low back or through our hips. We can hold it in different places, but if we're stressed, our muscles do tense up automatically. But we also know that we can control our muscles when we think about it. Or if you think about it, like, and we can do things like tense and then release our muscles to help them to relax. If we are nervous or upset, our breathing automatically gets shorter and shallower, and we tend to shift into breathing into the upper parts of our chest rather than relaxing and letting the breath expand in the belly when we inhale. And so if we consciously exhale fully and then take longer, slower inhalations, we can slow our breathing down, and that signals to the body and the mind that we're safe. And so those are just two autonomic reactions that happen in the body, the way that we breathe and the way that our muscles engage, that we can actually influence and control to some extent. So we can change how stressed our body feels by doing these simple techniques. And the coolest thing about this is that not only does your brain send messages to your body about whether to be stressed or calm, but your body sends messages to your brain about whether to be stressed or calm. So we can choose to breathe deeply or more slowly. We can choose to turn on that parasympathetic or rest and digest relaxation mode in the body that can really help us feel more calm and more at peace. And if we practice regularly, we can really start to transform and shift our nervous system from being dominated by stress to being dominated by the more relaxed rest and digest mode. And getting back to grounding, being grounded means that you are in your body, that you're aware of your present moment experience, you're feeling your emotions, and you're empowered by your ability to promote feelings of safety and well-being within yourself. Even though, I'll just say again, like there are things that are outside of our control with our circumstances, both externally and internally. There are things that happen, illnesses, things like that, that we don't have control over, and we can still choose how we will relate to those things. And that can really affect our overall experience. So, grounding activities can help us to activate that safer feeling by reminding ourselves that right now, in the present moment, we're actually safe. I actually, while I was walking around my neighborhood earlier this evening, I had that thought because I was looking around and I was noticing all the nice little statues that people had, little angels and little Buddha statues and stuff in their yards around my neighborhood. And I thought that with the election coming up, how important it is, regardless of how things go, to keep remembering to come back to the present moment, to look around ourselves and to see, am I actually safe in this moment? Is there an immediate threat? And there, sometimes in the world there is. So I'm not saying we should just stick our heads in the sand and pretend like everything's okay when it's not, but it also doesn't serve us well if we are so focused on the things that could go wrong that we're just completely stressing ourselves out and keeping ourselves in that really activated state. So I just want to encourage all of us, because I have to remind myself to really lean into the things that can help us to feel grounded and to feel safer. And I really want to continue to explore more of these over the next few weeks. And just to remind us, some of these practices we'll have done before, but just to remind us of them so that we can try them out and that you can then find the ones that you like the most and that really work well for you. And then once you find the ones that you like, keep doing them. Do them, every day if you can, just to keep grounding yourself. And the more we practice this, the greater the skill becomes in being able to use it when we really, really need it and when we really feel stressed. I do recommend typically, whether it's breathing practices or other somatic practices, and even meditation practices, that when you first start new practices, try to do them, do them when you're in a safe place and try to, when you're first getting acquainted with them, to do them when you're already feeling relatively okay. Relatively okay. You don't have to feel perfect or great, but just relatively okay so that you can get used to it, rather than waiting until you're in a completely charged state and then thinking like, okay, now I'm going to try breathing this certain way for the first time. Like, because it's probably not going to help if you do it like that. So the more you can become comfortable with the practices, then the easier it is to apply them when you need them the most. So I want to finish today with a short grounding practice where we're going to use our five senses to help us just to get grounded. And this is a good one to use if you're feeling anxious, if you're upset or overwhelmed with worrisome thoughts or memories or feelings. And we're just going to start by turning the attention inward again and noticing how you feel right now. So maybe you'll close your eyes for a moment, just check in and see, how am I feeling? Just notice whatever arises. And just take a few slow, deep breaths again so that you're taking a nice deep breath in and then a long, slow breath out. Do that a couple more times. And so now I want you to look around the room that you're in and name to yourself five things that you can see. So you might, for example, say, I see the computer, I see the door and the light, but just name five things that you can see in the room that you're in. And now pay attention to four things that you can feel. So you might gently rub your hands together or on your pants and just kind of describe that texture to yourself. So maybe you'll notice the chair you're sitting on feels soft, or the table feels cool, and my hands feel warm, or my pants feel smooth. So just describing to yourself four things that you can feel. And now close your eyes again and listen for three things you can hear. Just naming three things that you can hear to yourself. It might even be your own heartbeat or some distant traffic or the hum of the computer. Now, see if you can detect two things that you can smell. And this one might be hard. So we might have to really pause and pay attention because it's really easy for us to block out smells. And if you can't find anything that you're able to smell, you could just name to yourself two of your favorite smells. Maybe you love the smell of warm baked cookies, or we're at that time of the year where it's pumpkin spice everything. And now, finally, name one thing that you can taste. So it might be the last thing you had to eat or drink, or you might simply notice that your mouth is feeling moist or dry, or if it tastes a little sweet, maybe even a little sour. So just paying close attention to see if you can detect a taste. And if you can't, just name one of your favorite things to taste. I love to taste my morning tea. Now just take another slow breath in and a long breath out. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So I want you to just notice now if you feel any different, anything different about the way you feel in your body or the quality of your thoughts after doing that simple grounding practice. You may or may not feel any different. It's even possible to feel worse after we practice because it really depends on what's happening beneath the surface when we stop and we pay attention. Maybe you have some emotions that need to be processed, or you might just need more opportunities to practice so that your own parasympathetic response is better trained to turn on so that you can really um, lean into relaxing, reminding your body and mind that they don't always have to be hyper vigilant. So just be curious, be compassionate with yourself as you experiment with these grounding skills. And I hope that you will practice them. I hope it serves you. And I just want to end today with once again saying, peace within me, peace around me, and peace to guide us forward. peace within all of us, peace around all of us, and peace to guide us forward. So that is my little prayer for us in the week or the weeks or the months to come, because who knows what we're going to be facing. Um, but regardless, we can still choose where we place our attention, and we can put the effort into cultivating that peace and calm within ourselves. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.